And with that, we start off every board meeting with the same routine. So Ken Mattson, if you would like, could you lead us in a prayer and the pledge, please?
Pardon me, Chair. The training will be taking place at 6 o'clock, and then we will call the meeting to order, sir.
Fantastic. Then let's jump right in. I thought we were jumping right into the meeting.
Good evening, Elbert County Planning Commission. My name is Monty Hankins. I'm the Elbert County Public Works Director. I have been with Public Works since 2010. This is my 16th year. I've lived in Elbert County since 1965, so pretty much my entire life. I like to tell people I rode my bicycle on 13 and 166 when it was dirt. So I know a lot about the county. For the last 16 years, I do know quite a bit about, the roads and public works and road and bridge and that kind of thing. I've been the Public Works Director since 2023. I was put in this position 1 month before all the flooding started in 2023, so that was a trial by fire very quickly. Prior to that, we did have our first Public Works Director was instated in this county in 2017. His name was Rory Hale. He was a Public Works Director from 2017 to 2023, and then since then I took over. Kind of moved my way up. I've been doing road work and road construction since 1992. I was with a worldwide company that's now Martin Marietta. It's changed names a few times since then. And then I came to the county, like I said, in 2010. I don't really have a formal background in any type of engineering per se. It's just been, coming up through the school of hard knocks. So I was very thankful in 2024, after we got through the flooding and all the FEMA process and that kind of thing, that the county, myself and the county manager had team worked up hiring a county engineer that had the background that was necessary to proceed with development things and advisory type situations like Dale Gilliam has. So with that, I would like to introduce Dale. He's our county engineer. He's going to kind of tell you our processes that we have in Public Works. And then if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. But Dale will tell you our process. And then, like I said, if you have further questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Good evening. I'm Dale Gillen, the county engineer with Public Works. So as Monty said, I was asked here to kind of tell you what Public Works does, how our review process goes with CDS. So first I'll explain a little bit about the references we use to review. So we have Elbert County Construction Standards and Specifications. That's a 400-plus page document that includes written specifications and drawing details. Pretty much covers everything related to small and large developments. Our standards are pretty comparable to every other county and city municipality regulations. They're all follow local, state, and federal guidelines and engineering principles, things like that. So, however, Elbert County's standards, we have found some things that are out of date and maybe some contradictories there, but we try and fix those as they come up. We'll do update the standards on an annual basis or biannual basis whenever we can and we have enough to actually go through the long process of that. CDS has their own subdivision, residential and commercial development regulations. Some of those also cross over to Public Works side of the specifications. And we've been trying to get on the same page with those. I mean, for the most part, we are, but there's a couple things that may be different. Say, like, last year we had a length of a cul-de-sac was different in the CDS regulations versus the Public Works, and we changed that in the last updates and got those in sync. So what we look for, I guess, starting out in the pre-application meeting is probably the most simple meeting for us at Public Works, because everything is conceptual, napkin drawings, that kind of thing, and we're there just to guide the applicants on what they're going to need to submit when they go forward, and if they even want to do an application. So we'll tell them the documents that they need. So one of the things, or I've got 4 things that Public Works really looks at, and we look at everything from county roads, public right-of-way, anything up to the development itself is what we start out with. So access, we'll look at, whether it's off of a private public road or a county public road, size of the road. We'll look at if it's commercial or residential. Is it going to have a driveway or a road? All the specifications that are in our section 700 in our guidelines. So we kind of go over that, and that is all specific per the proposed development. Second, we look at traffic. So, for example, if there's a residential property located off of a rural county road with little traffic, we won't require a traffic letter. If it's a busy county road, we require a traffic letter, which consists of an engineer providing a letter stating that the site distance, if there's a curve or a hill, if it doesn't need any signage, are the accesses for the new development adequate for the rest of the traffic that's traveling that road. And then for the larger, busier roads, say like County Road 13, we'll require a traffic study, and that's more in depth. And what that developer would need to provide is that traffic study that does traffic counts, takes into account surrounding development, if there's any off-site improvements that may be needed, right in, right out lanes or turn lanes or anything like that. So if it's commercial and large developments, we also will have our outside consultant, Kimley Horn, do the large subdivisions. They do everything in and around the subdivision as far as roads, traffic, everything. That just takes a lot of manpower that the county doesn't have to do those long reviews and specialty design reviews. So the next thing we would look at is drainage. So we would look at whether it needs detention ponds or bar ditches, depending on what type of road it is and what kind of development it is. So all properties require a minimum of an 18-inch culvert for their access. Accesses could be different widths and turning radiuses, depending on commercial and residential. So in that a lot has to do with emergency vehicles getting in and out of the property. So, also the specifications there are, if you have a single-family residence on a property and looks like there's going to be minimal disturbance, we wouldn't require a drainage report. We'd probably just, with the site plan, if they can put some contours in there, something like that. If there's going to be major disturbance, like a large subdivision or even a minor subdivision, we'd probably ask for a drainage report, because you're probably going to need detention ponds or something to collect that water, hold it, and disperse it at an adequate rate to a specific discharge location, which is usually always the roadside, so you don't want to flood out those roads. And then the last thing that we look for is, the floodplain. That's a FEMA federal type review, but we'll go through, we require a floodplain permit and them to submit the FEMA process, the approvals, if they're not going to build in the floodplain, but if there's a floodplain going through their property, as long as they're not building in it, they won't have to go through all the strenuous stuff that you have to go through to build up those properties if you're going to build near or in the floodplain. So what we do is we offer guidance related to our specifications and answer questions to a certain extent. What we don't want to do is act as the applicant's consultant and give recommendations. So, it gets more involved in the referral stages. That's when our work really begins, because if they go through that, they're turning in engineering plans, reports, and that's where we spend a lot of time making sure that everything we ask for we have, and that those plans are addressing everything to county standards. So, and then also in those stages, we'll look at environmental, stormwater management plans and grading permits and access permits and those kind of things also. What we will not do, Public Works, we don't do anything with water. Well installations are with the state of Colorado. They have the authority over the water use. Septic systems, that's the health department. Buildings, all vertical construction and drainage around the structures lies with the building department. So to sum things up, Public Works, we do our best to make sure that all development follows the county standards so that there's responsible construction taking place and safe and adequate construction for the public in the future, future improvements if needed. So we ultimately don't deny or approve any parts of the process or anything. We give our comments, and usually it goes through the referral process, and then that's where we make joint decisions with all the other departments. I think that's really all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
Group, anybody have any questions?
Hey there. Yeah, thanks for coming tonight. This has been interesting to hear about it from your perspective. I do have some questions. One, You talked about having your standards and the 400-ish pages of standards, and that you generally update it 1 to every 2 years or so. What is the process for that? Is it just based on experience going through projects and realizing, we need to modernize this or change that to make it flow better? Or does it come from the BOCC? Where do you get your thoughts on what needs to be updated in the standards?
Well, when we're reviewing things, we'll either notice a discrepancy or something that's out of date, and we will note it. And then when we get enough of them, we try and get it approved through the board to, do some amendments through that process. Like some of the outdated things, we have. Not that we inspect them or anything, but they're in our standards for like a subdivision or a street roadway lighting. We have things in there of like the old wattage, high wattage type lights that nobody even uses anymore. So now, we've put in there the LED type, lights that face down and do the, save lighting and energy and things like that. But yeah, we'll need to, go through a lot of that still. But yeah, mostly it's just when you run into it and notice it as you're reviewing things.
And then the process is you guys would collect all of those thoughts for changes, and then the BOCC kind of gets them in one bunch and they approve updating the standards? Is that how that usually works?
Yeah. If you look on the website for the standards now, you'll see amendments in there that we've put together changes and then put them in there as an amendment for that section of whatever it may be.
Okay, that's helpful to know. Thanks. I was also curious, you mentioned that with some projects, the ones that require just more manpower, Kimley Horn would step in. I was just curious, and I know you described it as larger subdivisions, but is there like a cutoff of like at what point you recognize this is going to be too much for the county to handle? Is it like more than 20 or several hundred, or what's usually that cutoff for your department when you would ask Kimley Horn to step in as the middle person?
The size of the development you're talking about?
I guess, or if it's the size of the development, if it's the acreage, I'm not exactly sure how you would describe.
What's your criteria is basically what she's asking.
So pretty much we do everything in-house that's a minor subdivision, 7 lots or less, 7 properties.
Oh, I see.
Or less. Sometimes we'll do a slightly larger, and we'll do some commercial, but if it's a complicated, very involved commercial or a large subdivision like Spring Valley Ranches and Independence, those we turn over to our consultant because they have specialties in each area, and it takes weeks to review these things. So
yeah,
we'll get them involved.
So any development over 7 homes would be something that you would call Kimley Horn in to help with as a consultant?
Yeah. I mean, we may go above that, but typically that's our cutoff as minor and major subdivisions.
That's the distinction. Okay. I had one more question. Wanted to just ask, so you talked about the referral process, and that's kind of when you're not acting as a consultant to the applicant, but just giving comments. Mm-hmm. Would you say, generally speaking, your experience with applications and all of that is that applicants are usually generally they adhere to whatever your comment is or your advice about moving forward? Or are you stuck in situations where you've given a comment, you've advised a particular way, but applicants do it their own way regardless?
For the most part, they all adhere to our recommendations and our requests. There's always a few here and there that will not submit something, and then we'll just ask for it again. So it can go through like 4 referrals if they don't if something's not correct per our standards, or they didn't provide something, we'll ask them again, and the likelihood of it getting through with any kind of support, it won't be there. So they usually end up doing it, but there's people that have went ahead and started work without.
Really?
Yeah.
They can't get too far, right?
Yeah.
And if it's Kimley Horn who's handling the applicant, would they just submit that information to you, and then you would submit it on behalf of the department? Is that how that usually works?
Yes.
Okay.
So everything would run through Public Works, and then I would oversee what they're doing, and then when it comes down to it, we sign off on the plans once they're all reviewed and approved.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great. Anybody else? Kevin?
For once, I'm going to be silent on this. Good questions.
All right, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming in and providing us that detail. All right, I believe at this point, Kevin, you can open the meeting.
Fantastic. So let's call this meeting to order. It's 6:22. So Robert, would you like to lead us in the prayer and the pledge?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just as a reminder, I have to do it myself as well. Please turn off your cell phones. All right. Father, we are gathered here today with a shared responsibility to serve our community. We ask for your wisdom and guidance as we deliberate on important decisions that will affect the lives of the citizens of Elbert County. May we approach our tasks with integrity and a commitment to doing what is right. Help us to listen with open minds to diverse perspectives, and may our discussions and decisions be rooted in fairness, respect, and compassion. Again, we thank you for the opportunity to serve and for the guidance that you offer. We also ask you for your protection for those that serve our community and our nation. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, roll call. Dan Guthrie.
Present.
Ken Madsen.
Here.
Dan McCallan. Dan McCallan. Absent. Kyle DiNardo.
Here.
Nicole Hunt.
Here?
John Gresham.
Here.
Dee Dee Schott Grace. Dee Dee Schott Grace. Absent. Robert Politik.
Here.
Kevin Kirkwood.
Virtually here.
Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I appreciate it. With that, I'll turn it over to staff. Do we have a staff report?
Yes. Good evening, commissioners. I feel like I see you all the time now. Isn't it great? So short staff report tonight. So the next scheduled meeting is June 16th at 6 p.m. This is a work session for the comprehensive plan. No land use items will be heard that night. In addition, we did want to see what your availability was for the July 7th Planning Commission. Commissioner Hunt did relay to us that she's unable to attend this meeting. There are several land use items in the queue that are kind of waiting to go to hearing. So we just wanted to get an idea of numbers, if there would be enough commissioners present for a quorum on July 7th. Or if not, would we need to try for a new date?
And I'll be here for July 7th. What about the rest of the commission?
I can be here for that.
I'll be here.
Should be.
I'll be here.
Perfect.
Unknown for me.
No worries. We would have enough for a quorum with that number that was requested.
Yep.
Any other matters?
Okay. So I will let Jennifer know that there will be enough for a quorum, and then we'll kind of proceed with that July 7th date. Other than that, no other updates in terms of scheduling.
Okay, fantastic. Do we have any citizens available to make comments for any other reason other than what we're hearing tonight?
Not at this time, Kevin.
Fantastic, thank you. With that, I'd like to, did everybody get a chance to take a look at the meeting minutes from May 5th, 2026?
Yes.
Do we have any changes to that?
Anybody?
No.
No, Kevin.
Fantastic. Then I'll hear a motion for approval of meeting minutes from May 5th, 2026.
Yeah,
I move that we approve the meeting minutes for May 5th,
I'll second.
2026.
I'm sorry,
All in favor?
who is my second?
The second was Kyle.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? With that, it's passed. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and open the public hearing process. This requires the body to conduct a quasi-judicial hearing, which means we must find facts and base our decisions on those facts upon the application adopted against regulations and standards, criteria, and the competent and substantial material evidence received during this hearing. All testimony must be competent, on topic, and not repetitious. With that, we'll open the public hearing, and staff, would you like to present?
Yes. Give me 1 second. My PowerPoint just crashed, so bear with me.
No worries.
Yes.
And while we're waiting, Mars or Amber, if you could re-forward this meeting invite so I can move it over to my PC, that would be greatly appreciated. Y'all don't need to be seeing the glare from my forehead.
Mars is going to handle that. Perfect.
Mars will be forwarding you that link, Kevin.
Fantastic, thank you.
Perfect. In just 1 second, we'll let Dee Dee sign all the needed papers for Wendy.
As a note, we need to update our agenda so that it doesn't reflect a closing of no later than 11 p.m. I believe we've agreed on 10 p.m.
Yes, staff has made that note and is correcting for future meetings.
Fantastic, thank you.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. For the record, Kelsey Lanham with the Elbert County CDS Department. Tonight, I will be presenting Chevelle Final Plat, case number FP 2026-0002. So a little bit about the project. The site location, so it's parcel number 62313-00025. There's no formal address on the property yet. The site is just over 300 acres and is zoned agriculture residential. The applicants are requesting to subdivide 306 acres to create 24 10-acre lots. If this project does sound familiar to you, they were here last year with a rezone and a preliminary plat. The same applicants are here tonight, and the BOCC did approve of the rezone and preliminary plat in 2025. Since the approval, there have been no changes to the original proposal. The same lot size, design, and request is still consistent with what was presented in that preliminary plat. Looking at the timeline, so their pre-application meeting was back in 2024. Due to the entire project being discussed at the pre-app meeting, a second pre-app was not required. Their community meeting was in December of 2025. It went through one review cycle this year, March to April, and as of right now, it is scheduled to go in front of the BOCC on June 24th. I will say with the new regulation update that requires that 18-month window with the community meeting, this project meets it by 2 days. So it's still in compliance with current regulations. And all public notice requirements have been met as well. These are the referral agencies that were sent the application for review, the same list that were sent the rezone and the preliminary plat. There are no outstanding objections from any of these agencies. Looking back at the community meeting, there were 2 residents in attendance outside of the applicant team and county staff. The comments and questions were revolving water, mineral rights, open space, roads, wetlands, and if an HOA would be formed. Since then, no additional comments have been received about this project. So this is an aerial view of the property. Property line is outlined in yellow, and the access will be off of Comanche Creek Road. Looking at the zoning map, so the purple is EC East PUD. Majority of the properties surrounding the subject property are zoned agriculture, which is the green. However, there are a cluster of agriculture residential properties to the northwest of this property. Here's their final plat. Like I mentioned, they're proposing to do the same plan as before, 24 10-acre lots, and they will have over 20% of open space, which meets regulation requirements. And here is a different colored version of the development. So the lighter green represents the proposed lots, and the dark green will be the open space. Inside the lots, there's the smaller green circles, which are the recommended building envelopes. And then it might be hard to see, well, maybe not. At the right is a possible design option for their monument signage when entering the development. The following criteria found in Article 2C of the Elbert County Subdivision Regulations. This shall be considered by the CDS Director, Planning Commission, and the BOCC when reviewing applications for subdivisions. This criteria is summarized for the presentation purpose. Letter A, evidence that provision has been made for a water supply that is sufficient. DWR has found that adequate water is available for the proposed development. B, evidence that provision has been made for sewage disposal. The proposed lots will be serviced by individual septic systems as allowed by the subdivision regulations. Public Health reviewed the application, had no concerns or objections about the development. The applicant will just have to go through proper permitting or the future buyers. Letter C, evidence to show all areas that may involve soil or topographical conditions presenting hazards. There are no soil or conditions existing that present hazards or require special precautions. Colorado Geological Survey was a referral agency and had no objections on this project. D, the application is in compliance with the subdivision regulations and zoning regulations. The proposed plat is in compliance with both. The lots meet the requirements for individual on-site water treatment systems and wells, and the open space passes the standards found in regulations. And finally, letter E, application is consistent with the intent, policies, and goals of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The plat currently meets the goal residential development, or RD, which states that Elbert County supports residential development by encouraging a range of lot sizes and residential densities. A few considerations for decision. The rezone and preliminary plat were approved in August of 2025 by the BOCC. They have met their open space requirements. There are no outstanding objections from the referral agencies, and no public comment has been received for any of the applications. The potential conditions of approval are the three standard. So 1, the applicant shall remove the signs within 1 week of the conclusion of all notified meetings, hearings, or decisions. 2, the final plat shall not become effective until all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the final plat is recorded. And recordation of all appropriate documentation is to occur within 180 days of the Board of County Commissioners' approval. The applicants are present to speak and answer questions if the Planning Commission has any. Staff is also available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Fantastic. Would the applicant like to speak on behalf of this session?
Hi, this is Mike Bennett. Thank you guys for all taking your time tonight, and thank you to the planning department for doing such a great job. One of the things that we did before even purchasing this property was met with planning and really go through what we're looking to do with and what the county would like to see done in this area, especially considering the growth eastward from Independence and on through this. So this is not just we threw it at the wall and see what would stick. This was a great collaboration, and I appreciate Kelsey and her team and Jen and Amber. This has been a fantastic process, and we look forward to completing this project. Great. Let's go. Let's put it to a vote.
Thank you very much. Kevin, are you there?
I am here. It's you don't quite get off that easy.
All right.
I had to do a double take to make sure you weren't the other Mike Bennett.
I get that all the time. Yeah. Mike Bennett like the town, not like the senator. How about that?
Yeah.
No, there we go. And do we have anyone in the room that would like to speak for or against this this plan, this approach?
There's no other participants in the room, Kevin.
Fantastic. I don't get the view of the back room like I normally do.
Yeah.
So if you would like, why don't we challenge the decision? I want to start with the first question, which seems to be probably going to be something that everybody's going to ask, but why are we bringing this back the way we're bringing it back?
Is that question directed at me, sir?
Yes.
I think it's very important in the process that we do a preliminary plat and make sure that we're all on the same page, and then come back for our final plat. Our rezone, rezone is the most difficult part of this process. I think in general, when you're a reuse of process or of a property or a land. But I think that making sure we're all on the same page in a preliminary situation just helps maintain a proper direction and allows the community to have input. But it also allows us as, to help forward the community with input. And so I think that's why we decided to do a preliminary and a final plat instead of doing them all at once.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I'll turn it over to the board, and let's start on the left-hand side as I'm looking at y'all. So Dan Guthrie, any comments, questions?
Not at this point, but I reserve the right to come back and ask again something down the road. Thank you.
Fantastic. Nicole?
Just so you know, so you didn't miss Dee Dee, she is on the farthest end, on the other side of Dan.
But we saved the best for last.
You can come back to her.
We're in full circle.
No, I mean, I really don't have any questions. I think this is pretty straightforward. I did want to just take a minute to say I do remember when you were here last year in August, and I also remember we had several different applications that night, and this one really did feel like a breath of fresh air. It felt like this was a plan that was going to reflect what it means to be rural here in Elbert County. And I'm really excited that as a developer, you're coming forward with a plan that is going to allow families to buy in to the land and to be able to live the rural lifestyle. I think it's really great. I think you mentioned last time you're like a 6th generation Coloradan. Yeah. And I just love that that's something that you can pass on to families who want to know what it's like to live in that rural lifestyle. I appreciate developers that are willing to come in with these kinds of projects. And so I'm grateful that you're continuing to see it through. Thank you,
Nicole.
Fantastic. Ken?
I have no questions. It does look like you guys have done a lot of work to make sure that you keep it consistent with Elbert County and what we want here. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Robert?
No questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Kyle?
No questions from me either.
Fantastic. John?
No questions from me.
And making it full circle, Dee Dee.
I just have one question that is really important to me,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's why I wanted to make it on record. You're not doing a metro district, is that correct?
Absolutely not.
Thank you, and praise God for you.
And since we've made the full round, Kevin, I would have a question for this gentleman.
Sure.
And this, I don't believe is going to affect any, but it will help me understand a little, as a new guy on the Planning Commission. I understand you're not providing any water data for the upper and lower Dawsons. So is there no intent to put a well into either of those aquifers? Everything's planned to go down to the Denver and below?
So, Commissioner, that's a great question. One of the things that we looked at when we purchased this property was we had dedications for 3 different aquifers in the Denver Basin, Arapahoe Basin, and Laramie Fox Hill. One of the biggest priorities, again, being a 6th generation farmer and rancher in Colorado, we know that water's our gold. We actually chose, working with the Division of Water, the Colorado Department of Water, we actually chose, because this is definitely a more affordable or higher end subdivision, that we decided that our future residents can afford to drill a little deeper into the Arapahoe aquifer. The reason that we chose that is because the Denver Basin is actually probably the most taxed basin in the area. And with a good water replacement plan, with a septic system essentially, and looking at our non-tributary waters, by pulling from the lesser taxed aquifer, that the Department of Water does not require a replacement plan, that water going through the septic systems will actually be a net positive for the Denver basin. And that is something that from the very beginning, we've discussed with planning to make sure that that's apparent, that we're not just we're actually delivering a net positive on the water side of things.
Okay.
So nothing from the Dawson.
Okay, just out of curiosity, and the Dawson may not reach out that far. I think it gets pretty thin when it gets out there. Just as a question, what do you estimate a well would cost to go down to you're going all the way to the Arapahoe, is that correct?
Arapahoe, yes, sir. I'm not sure that, I'm not drilling the wells. I would anticipate it's probably 20%. Probably a 20% increase from just being able to go down to the Denver. I'm not a professional in the well.
And I understand you're going to put a well in for the HOA.
Correct.
Specific,
Correct.
And you're going to be joining to the same level of aquifers, is that right?
Yes, that will. Okay. And we're actually working with the fire chief on how to put a cistern in there so that the fire department, because that's important, even though it's not a requirement. But if you look out here, whether it's EC East or other, there isn't a lot of water for our fire department to be able to use, and I think that's an important part that we're doing out of our pocket, not a public requirement.
Thank you. I looked over your plan. It seems very complete to me. I was just curious about those two little items. Thank
Absolutely, and we can talk about water anytime you guys want to.
Fantastic. Any other questions? So with that, I'll see a motion on Chevelle Final Plat FP 2026-0002.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of the Chevelle Final Plat -2026-0002 with the conditions recommended by staff.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Dan Guthrie,
I'll vote aye.
Ken Madsen,
Aye.
Kyle DiNardo,
Aye.
Nicole Hunt,
Aye.
John Gresham,
Aye.
Dee Dee Schutt-Grace,
Aye.
Robert Politic,
Aye.
Kevin Kirkwood.
Aye.
8 for aye, 0 for nay.
Fantastic.
Happen every day.
With that, congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yep.
And with that, we'll close the public hearing and the general session for Planning Commission for June 2nd. And we will move directly into a work session on the comprehensive plan.
Chair, can we do a 10-minute recess just so we can get all the screens pulled up, laptops plugged in, Word docs pulled up, all the above?
Absolutely.
Perfect. And Robert, just to give you like a quick setup on how we did it last time. So on the TV screen in front of you, we have the current Kimley Horn colored full draft. So there's no edits or red lines in this screen. On the big screen to the left, we have Kimley Horn's version. So essentially, we pulled what's in this, converted it to Microsoft Word so that it's easy to edit. So the left is Kimley Horn with Ken's edits. And then on the right hand is Kevin's. And so how we did it last time is the left document will be the one that's edited, and then we'll save that and send the clean versions out again, like we did last time. And I did print out a couple of those for those that like physical copies. So I guess Kevin, whenever, well, I guess I'll wait for Amber. And then let me put on track changes for this one. No. Oh my gosh. I don't.
Thank you.
And Kevin, right now, Amber is passing out physical copies of your chapters, essentially 1 through 9.
Cool. Thank you so much, honey.
Okay. Make sure I don't lose it. All right. Are we ready? Okay. So just a quick question for you all. So Jennifer had sent out the 3 quote unquote clean versions that we edited last week. Talked to some of the commissioners. I am more than happy to go through those super fast if anyone has highlighted any further changes, or we can just jump right into chapter 4 and try to get to 7 tonight. Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. Second comment, at the June 16th meeting, that is when we will have the requested approved zoning numbers into that table. So staff is just gathering all the approved numbers and making it look a little neater than just in word text. So we'll have that for you at the next work session. And with that, same format as we did last time. I think that worked pretty well. I have Amber here to correct me when I get loopy and I don't know where you guys are working at. So, Kevin, whenever you are ready, we are 2.
Okay, fantastic. I'm not going to put the camera on because you don't need to see my, again, shiny head on the screen. But as we're looking at this, the thing I was thinking of is how do we simplify this and refocus this on really the vision statement and bring it back to the core foundation of what that vision statement was and realign. Now, the Kimberly Horn stuff has got a lot of pretty words in there, but it doesn't focus specifically on, what our vision is and where we're taking the county in general. So that's where I started. So with that, comments.
Yeah, Kevin, I really liked let's just start with the first part, the visioning process. I really liked your version better. I just thought, I think what was lacking in Kimberly Horn's and in yours is that 4th component, which is the Planning Commission. It stopped short of saying that, only the steering committee, the community input, and community confirmation was what created this. But I do think it would be important to add the Planning Commission because this has been an important feedback opportunity for us as well.
Fantastic. Yep. We can add it back in. We can add that in.
I don't understand why we're taking out all of the chapter 4 process that they have in place. There's a lot of things here that seem to be deleted. Maybe I think those are important issues because they do include something about some sort of growth. I mean, we have to have some sort of growth or the county will die. And not just.
I don't think we're.
Let me finish, Kevin. Let me finish.
Okay.
We have to have something that allows some vehicle to allow for higher density housing so that we can get younger families into this community to do to become a part of the community, therefore want to stay and work in those beginning level jobs. And maybe this goes back to the vision statement. I'm concerned about that. I got to be honest with you. I think we're pushing way too hard for large, expensive acreage pieces. I'm all about rural. Believe me, I'm all about agriculture. But we also have to be realistic that if we're going to have a growing, thriving community, we have to make room for a price point for the younger community, for the $300,000 house. I realize that's hard to come by, but that's
Impossible.
where we have to get.
It's
well,
impossible.
I don't think it is impossible, but
We approved
maybe I'm being-
independence, and it's at $735,000.
You guys can run over me if you want to, but I believe that's really an important part.
How long before we can start talking? Because you've had the floor for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
And you've made your statement that you're fundamentally, we need to think about adding higher density housing, and we have, right? We're looking at almost 10,000 to 11,000 houses. A good percentage of those are high density housing units. We also have Elizabeth, which is putting in high density as well. And we are fundamentally not ignoring these facts, but we are also looking at the fact that we've already done a lot of the planning, a lot of the staging for these higher density homes. I mean, literally, we've approved more than 9,000 homes that fit into that category of higher density.
Understand, those are previously approved.
Right.
I believe that
need
was
to add more because our growth strategy tells us that we're not going to fill those homes by 2050.
So do we want to shut off the pipeline for 2060? I guess
don't
that's
think
my
we
getting
are.
at.
We're not doing that.
Okay. I've expressed my concern.
So I understanding your concern, but the comprehensive plan, the goal is to have it reviewed again when?
Within 5 to 10 years is what Kimley Horn recommended.
Yeah. So, I mean, the statement could be made now, and based upon the pipeline, as Kevin suggests, we're good until 2050. But if we review and based upon real statistics of uptick in not vacancy, but the uptick in utilization of that style home, for the county, and it's found to be amenable based upon the physical location. All this can be redone in 5 to 10 years. So I think there's opportunity. There's plenty of opportunity now, and for the next 10 years. Let's see how this plan then affects the overall character of the county while still maintaining the necessary growth. Like you say, if you don't grow, you die. You have to have some growth. We just don't want Castle Rock growth, type of scenario. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Hey, Dan, just a question for you. What do you consider a starter home, just size-wise?
Well, I realize it's getting harder and harder to get into a home for a new family, but something in the vicinity of $350,000 to $500,000 is that's an expensive starter home. That's probably as good as we can do nowadays, unless you're going to get into a townhome or something like that. I would hope that if we were to have something like that, it would be within the confines of the city. Elizabeth, obviously not Kiowa, but.
So I just want to put it in perspective. So I just pulled from the MLS, RE Colorado, over the last 360 days, there's been 25 homes sold under 500,000.
Under 500.
Only 25 in a whole year. None of these homes are in new subdivisions.
And what's the area?
It's all of Elbert County.
Oh, all of Elbert, okay.
If you want to do 80107, which is Elizabeth, there's been 6 homes under 500,000 within a year. So I get the point that we need more of these high density homes, but are we really going to stand on the fact that it's for affordability? That's my issue.
I don't think we need a lot of them like that, but to draw people, the sheriff complains he can't get enough qualified people. And as soon as he trains them, they leave and go to a higher paying job. The school districts complain about the same thing with their teachers.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to keep those people here is, one, if they can live here and develop a sense of community so that when Mama says, I like the kids going to this school, I like my neighbors, I want to stay here, then Dad, or maybe the breadwinner, maybe it's reversed, says, okay, I'm willing to accept a lower paying job and not have to commute to Douglas County or Apple County or different school district or whatever to stay close. And that's how we can keep people now. Are they all going to be that way? Absolutely not. No, we still have an area for larger, but my concern is that the way this is written, it basically says if it's not a rural or a 10-acre lot, we're not interested in having you in Elbert County. And I don't think that's our intent.
That's not what it says.
That is absolutely not what it says.
That's not what it says.
Because I can guarantee that if somebody came in here with a 2.5 to 5 acre subdivision, a majority of this board would support that.
But that's still very, very expensive.
It's expensive, not because of what we're doing. It's expensive because of what the lenders will allow. You got to remember, the real tool associated with any kind of build out by a developer and so on is what he thinks the market will bear. And a lot of times the lenders are going, what, a 900 square foot house? Okay, that was my first starter house. Yeah, no such thing anymore. 3-bedroom, they were all 10 by 10 bedrooms, for all of $62,000. They would never want that. They don't want that kind of, they won't lend that kind of money.
Yeah, there's no return.
There's no return on it. And so they're only looking for something that's going to be more substantial. And there's unfortunately, there's not going to be the situation to allow that kind of build out, because the money's not there.
And when I brought this up with independents representatives at one of our meetings, I said, hey, in the past you promised that this would be housing for teachers and for first responders. How many live in your community? They're like, we have no idea. And I said, well, is it affordable for that demographic? And they said, I don't know. Our average price is over $700,000. But then I said, but what about the guarantee? And they're like, well, unless you want us to bring in Section 8 housing, the market's going to determine the price.
We absolutely do not need Section 8 housing. Mm-hmm. Let me be very clear. We'd like to avoid that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, and Dan, I get you are making a valid point. You're trying to get other people to come in here. There's more tax money coming into the county. I just think there's got to be, what you're proposing, the only alternative to that is BTR communities, right? As a BTR community, a build to rent. So now you're going to have a developer come in. We're going to see that, let's say it's high density, whatever you want to call it. But, these aren't for sale, these are for rent. So now you have a rent controlled community. How does that benefit the residents of Elbert County? It's a hard.
Is there a repercussion?
I'm fine hearing what he said. Is everybody else okay?
I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so I've been in the real estate business since 1998.
Put him next to a microphone, though.
There.
And I think there's some valid points, but in Indiana right now, you can go and buy a $60,000 house and the bank will finance it. So I understand what you're saying, but that's not correct. It's based on location maybe, but lenders will look at loan to value and debt to income. That's where they get their return. They're selling those mortgages on Wall Street. So in Indiana, in Iowa, in Akron, Colorado, you can buy a house for $60,000.
Yeah.
I think that there is an opportunity as a land developer, and you guys just heard me, there is an opportunity to get into the $300,000 price point, and it doesn't have to be super high density, but it has to, and I've talked about this, the biggest, like our project, 24 10-acre lots, it's been almost 2 years of sitting here, a holding cost that costs $30,000 a month of my overhead, for a very small, simple, that you guys all love subdivision, but 2 years at $30,000 a month of carrying costs. That's why it's expensive. If we had a real plan in the path of development that's already existing, whether we like it or not, it is there. And it's eastward from Parker through Independence, and it's moving eastward. If we can contain that into an area and surrender to win a little bit and say, here's our path of development, and concentrate that where we can have some things and fast track some maybe things that Dan is talking about, where we say, hey, if we have a subdivision that does promote first responders, people for the sheriff's department, people for the fire department, school teachers, not just the school teachers, but janitors who have to clean the schools, groundskeepers who have to take care of them, people for Monty and Jay to work on the roads, for my friend Kelsey, who doesn't even live in this county because she can't afford to. But we have to have a comprehensive plan that accommodates that, and it is doable, and I promise I will volunteer. I will do whatever I need to do to give my 2 cents for free to help, but there is a possible way to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and a good thing you pointed out, though, is location, 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 right?
Yeah.
I mean, a $300,000 home here, is that an apartment?
It doesn't have to be. Sure. Again,
I want to rehear his
Michael
case.
Bennett. I'm just kidding. No, I think that I have ideas in my head that I would present, depending on how this comprehensive plan goes moving forward, that I think we could have starting points in the 350s, upwards, maxing out at 450. But again, there would have to be some help from the county because, again, I can't have carrying costs of $30,000 a month and have affordable housing. And it doesn't have to be rented, build to rent.
As we look at this, Mike, I mean, this comprehensive plan doesn't exclude that from happening. It doesn't exclude that discussion from happening and that conversation from happening, but it does reflect the nature of where this community has told us they want us to go. And so, not saying we would say no to that, but we do need to factor that in and move forward with the discussion, the document, and everything. So if we can get back to the document and refocus, I think we're going to be better off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opinion.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, back to the document. I don't think it excludes quote unquote high density housing. I don't see that language in there.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't exclude it. I agree with that.
I just
but it does discourage it, and it does that by emphasizing rural all the time. I don't understand why we need to remove some of the verbiage that's, as in chapter 4, for instance. I mean, yours is very succinct, Kevin, and I know you put a lot of work into it, and I don't want to belittle that at all. But I also got to think that these folks that built the original version have some expertise in this, and I think starting on from number 4, that is chapter 4, maybe we can lighten up the rural impression a little bit, just so that we open the door for discussion about places that we can get a little bit more high-density housing. I'm not encouraging it outside the towns, that's all.
We've already said, we haven't discouraged it. We have blessed more than 9,000 houses, and it is not all rural. It is, by and large, almost exclusively higher density housing. And so we haven't lost that feeling, that touch, that smell of being able to try to achieve this. What you're talking about is even more in the face of what the ask is in this case, which is, build us a continual community that focuses on the rural values and still allows for people to come here and live. I like your idea of putting it in front of the family, but I think we've got to move on. And if we don't keep moving forward with this document or this series of documents, we're going to be thinking about this in 2030. So we have to move forward. We have to take a stake in the sand, and I think that's what we're doing. We appreciate your insight, Dan, but I think we've got some progress that we can make here. We need to start making the progress.
All right, so what are we proposing then for changes?
So did we add
the planning commission in to that section on 4?
So I guess the first question is, on the left side, do we want to get rid of the whole entire visioning process language? Theirs is just to highlight how long theirs is. Let's see. So it will go to there. So do we want to delete the entirety of their language and then insert Kevin's, but then add a number 4 that says Planning Commission?
Now keep in mind that there's going to be process-oriented stuff further down. It's just buried because the process buries the lead in this case, which is that vision statement, and that's truly the important piece of the element.
Okay.
I mean, what do we want to do?
I didn't like Kim. I had changes to Kim Horn's language anyway because I didn't like it. So I like yours. I would err on the side of going with Kevin's version. Others?
I've made my statement. I think we need to go with Kimberly's version. I'm sorry, Kevin. I know you put a lot of work into this, but I guess I don't agree with the tone.
This isn't me. This isn't about me. It's about what the community wants. And right now, you're one person. Nicole's put her point of view out there. What do others think?
By the way, we can still exist tomorrow.
I don't hear a lot of people talk.
I've read this one very well. I've skipped over Kevin's, and I have no problem with Kimley Horns. I agree with Dan on that. There's a few points that you have that are good too, but I have no problem with Kimley Horns.
Was the main thing you were trying to address is to shorten the actual vision and then have the bulk of the if you want to say the meat after your vision statement, Kevin?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And I did take a lot of the flowery words out of it. As you can tell, I'm not big on flowery words.
Neither am I.
Yeah, there's no fluff in there, Kevin. There's no fluff.
I mean, I could put some fluff in there if you wanted.
I would like to see some I mean, I don't have a huge disagreement with Kimley Horns on this one. I think there's definitely tweaks. And I'm trying to read them. I'm a slow reader, okay? So I'm trying to read them both at the same time.
Me too.
So
reread them.
That being said,
I had, if people like some fluff, I did not like the first sentence of the visioning process that Kimley Horn had out there. And so I finessed it to something a little different to say the comprehensive plan, vision, and core principles serve as the foundation of the plan, establishing preservation of rural character, agricultural land, and natural resources as the county's first priority, and guiding any future growth or development in a manner consistent with those values over the next 10 to 20 years. So if folks are interested in having something that's a little bit more visionary introduction, I think that's something that would establish the right way in which we're looking at growth.
I like Nicole's. All in favor? I'm just kidding. No, but really, I do like Nicole's on that.
I agree too. Yeah, I'd like her introduction for that.
Will you put that in the chat just like last time? Thank you.
I just need to log into it.
So we will add Nicole's first sentence for the rest of Kimley Horn's version. Are we keeping it or replacing with Kevin's?
Are you asking, as I sit here and have Kim and Ken's in my hand, and now we have Kevin's over here, and we have Nicole's, which of the versions we're wanting? Is that correct?
Yes. So what you have in your hands is exactly what's up on the screen.
You're talking about this?
We couldn't add Nicole's into the documents just because of the different softwares that were used.
Okay.
So last time we just dropped her comments into the Teams link and then just copied them from there into that left-hand side.
Okay, so then I would ask Nicole to reread hers,
Okay.
if that's not.
Yeah, that's fine. The comprehensive plan, vision, and core principles serve as the foundation of the plan, establishing preservation of rural character, agricultural land, and natural resources as the county's first priority, and guiding any future growth or development in a manner consistent with those values over the next 10 to 20 years. Did you send?
Well, I think that nails it.
Yeah, and then from Dan, I don't think that takes anything away from future development, because as long as it preserves the rural character, which we can call our architectural plan in the future, I think it kind of is that middle ground.
And I appreciate that. I can actually live with most of that language. I think it's very reasonable. What I'm trying to protect is those property rights for the landowners that have a section of ground out there that they've had in their family for 5 generations, and this now is their opportunity to sell it to the highest bidder, and maybe that highest bidder happens to be a developer. I'm not supporting developers. I'm supporting the process for the landowner to get the best that he can and maintain his property rights. That's really what it comes down to.
And I think Nicole's language, it doesn't, again, it's a guiding document, right? But it still gives everybody the right to, if a developer wants to come in, they still go through the process, whether it's whatever the language says, right? It's not closed off.
Yeah.
I would like to, I'm glad she included growth in the latter part of it, but I think we need to accept the fact that there is going to be some growth. We need to embrace it. Yes, we want it to look like we want it to look, and I guess that's what we're trying to figure out is what we want it to look like. But I hate to see it so limiting solely to rural and ag ground, I guess.
But you have to, what are the comments of the, I'm sorry, Richard, I'm sorry. The comments that we have from the, what the heck, all the
Steering committee.
steering committee and everything else, it all came down to everyone saying they wanted to keep their rural community. They did not want it to go into a Parker or, heaven forfend, Castle Rock. So you have to keep the rural because that's what the county told us. So we're charged with keeping it rural to a certain degree, still keeping it rural, but we also do have to allow for the growth that we really do want. But you have to make sure that you're just saying, this is the feel that we want for our community. So when a developer comes in and he wants to just do 3 more independents, they right there have a comprehensive plan that says, we're supposed to be keeping this rural. Now, how can your development do that? Now, the development that just came through here tonight is a perfect example of everything everybody's been talking about.
Have you got an idea what they're going to charge for those houses?
Oh, I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, it was
I
5
would
to
expect none of them to be
700,000
under
just
a
for the
million.
land.
What?
It was 5 to 700,000 for the land.
Just for 10 acres.
Yeah.
Just for the ground.
Right.
And 100,000 for the well.
Yeah.
He didn't say that, but that's what it's going to cost.
Right. Well, that's on him if he thinks he can do it.
Well, my point is.
But the same developer also just said if there was an incentive to develop other types of communities, that's something that he would be open to. But people won't know that unless we create a vision that entices developers to want to bring us those kind of projects.
And I think you said that very well, Nicole. I agree with that. I would include within your statement there, your recommended statement, planned growth also as part of our vision.
We have planned growth. We've been talking about doing nothing but planned growth. We have communities set aside for planned growth.
I was going to say, with
We're
the
not
zoning
making
maps.
any progress here. We're going round and round in circles. There's a difference between a comprehensive plan and zoning and the regulations associated with zoning. And what we write in the comprehensive plan
It's a guide.
sets the expectation, the vision, et cetera, but does not limit us to rezoning something.
Right. Remember, the comprehensive plan is a guideline. It does not, create the regulations or the zoning associated with it. It only provides the guidelines for the county commissioners and the planning commission to be able to act upon.
Chairman, I would like to move that we accept Nicole's version and move forward.
Yes, please.
Is
So
that the
we'll-
only?
We don't have to vote on we don't have to vote on every paragraph, but we do need to start making forward progress. When we're not doing that,
So with Nicole's then,
we are
first,
ruminating.
so with Nicole's then change, is there anything else we need to change in the Kimley Horn version?
Well, I think there's a number of changes that Kimley or that Nicole had that is not just in this first section, not just that first paragraph.
No, I had more. I guess generally speaking, I'm wondering if we need to, they commit a lot of not just words, but pages to this process that I don't know is really that necessary.
No, it justifies their position as the consultant in this, and that's the only reason why it's in there.
If you
We
look,
don't need it
that's
for
right.
our future.
If you look at our past comprehensive plan, it doesn't have like this type of extensive explanation of where they got information from. What it has extensive information about is what the comprehensive plan is, what the recommendations are moving forward.
Let's cut the fluff then, the extra fluff.
Yeah.
Let's move on it. I mean, I agree. I don't think we need to know the entire process.
I think that including every bit of this is kind of a distraction from what should be the meat of the document, personally.
So then can we just leave with your changes the first paragraph and then cut the rest?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I know that there's an image, you guys can see it on the screen right here, that's the one-word descriptions, and I did make a note on the copy I gave to Kimley Horn that it actually that was not input from community events, that was actually input from a steering committee meeting, because it was included in our steering committee packet. So I just think if we're going to include that, it needs to correctly reflect that came from the steering committee. And then I think on the next page, there's a graphic with a bunch of bubble comments. I don't know where that came from. I didn't see that in any of our other packets. And it says it was a steering committee poll, but I don't recall us ever doing this poll. So I do think we either ask them about this or just strike it all together. I don't know that this brings a lot of
I'm fine striking it.
help.
Me too.
To the image.
Let's just strike it.
Okay.
And then we need to change on the first infograph or the first picture, we need to change it from community events to steering committee, correct?
Yes, and the image I don't think we need the image that says 1, 2, 3 if we've got it listed out the way that Kevin does. But I do think it needs to say 1, 2, 3, 4 and include the planning commission in the process because we are excluded from that vision process.
So we can cut that section in place of that big blurb there.
Yes. And then the other comment I had was the figure with the circle graph. I'm just not sure where that came from. I don't know if that came from the survey. And if we could just make a note there that I'd like Kimley Horn to provide a notation of where that came from.
You're talking about the pie chart.
The pie chart, yes.
Are you cutting the graphics or the verbiage?
This part?
I see you're pointing just at the graphics.
Yes.
But they removed all the verbiage up there.
Can you speak into the mic, please, so we can get it?
I don't know what you're talking.
Sorry. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I thought we were just cutting the graphics, not all of the verbiage.
I mean, going up, do we need the verbiage of how this process started? Is that important as a guiding document for future land use code?
I think it helps set the plan for the 5 years down the road or 10 when we do this again.
I just think it's fluff, but that's my opinion.
But I'm not going to die on that hill. Whatever you guys think's best.
So
Next it.
Okay, so on the left side of the screen, so we have Nicole's new first sentence of the original paragraph, and then we took Kevin's visioning process, plopped it over, and then added planning commission as a number 4.
Okay.
And if we're going to keep their language from that vision process, I do think we need to add in the planning commission because it stops with, the community review and confirmation. So I do think that we should add in the language, final approval.
In the narrative.
Or something, exactly.
Yeah, in the narrative, not plus the bullet points, so 1, 2, 3, 4 bullet points.
Yeah, we want credit.
If they have to blame somebody, it's going to fall on our shoulders, guys.
So let me move my mouse. The second sentence then, it says this vision was shaped through,
Refined by the steering committee.
Yes, was refined, thank you, by the steering committee, planning commission, and was then returned to the community for review. Do we like it there?
Technically, it was after the community review because they've already reviewed it at all of the open houses. So if you're doing it chronologically, it should be planning commission and final approval by the planning commission.
So do you want staff just to make a note to
No,
add
why
in?
don't you just update the language, I think. Make it easier for Kimley Horn.
Okay, this is where I lost. Go to. So just, can you repeat that one more time?
Oh,
Sorry.
sure. And final review by the Planning Commission. Or final approval by the Planning Commission.
At the end of the sentence, not in the middle.
Hold on.
Thanks, Robert.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's been a long day.
I know.
I know, sorry.
I had something.
Okay, let's see.
Can I just state on the record that that coffee machine is a real POS?
We will make note.
I'll second it.
Okay. I'm not sure if this grammatically makes sense.
Yeah, just take out the and in between committee. Yep.
This one? Okay.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Good?
Yes.
Okay, anything else to the visioning process of chapter 4? Perfect. Okay, scrolling down. So now on the left side, you will see the Kimley Horn vision statement. On the right is Kevin's.
And Kevin, I mean, yours was a whole lot shorter than what Kimley Horn's was, but Kimley Horn's really did reflect kind of what everyone collectively thought was best. Did you have a reason for making yours quite so much shorter?
It was, again, taking out the fluff. It's okay if we leave it longer.
I think that we got good feedback. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Robert. I was just going to say, I think we got good feedback from the open house on that vision statement, so I'm okay with what Kimley Horn has there.
And I thought you said you were going to move some of that meat into the later sections. Yes, no? Yeah. So we'll keep playing.
So we want to keep the entire section, okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, that is the end of chapter.
Hold on. So core principles, is that what you skimmed through after the vision statement? Because that's like page 56.
Oh, yes.
57.
Okay.
We need to talk about that part.
Okay. So left side's core principles, and then the same with the right.
Yeah, I think they missed some of the intent on this, and that's why I changed some of the wording and refocused us.
I mean, just looking at the beginning, sentence there that Kimley Horn gave, I didn't have any significant problems with that. I also liked their graphic that identified those 4 areas. Those were areas that the steering committee talked about and identified. The rural character, the natural resources, the sustainable economy, and the high quality life. I kind of like how they divided that up with those images and then broke it down. I did have some suggestions for changes to a little bit of the language in a couple of those. But, generally speaking, I didn't have a problem with how they presented this, although I would have some wordsmithing to do if we wanted to keep this as is.
So your edits were for?
And what's the wordsmithing?
So for the majority of the comments I had were for the first section, which relates to the rural character, and then for the last section, which had to do with the high quality life. I had some updates here to we can go ahead and just read it. Elbert County will preserve its rural character by prioritizing low-density development patterns, agricultural land uses, and rural landscapes. I kept the second sentence, this principle favors. I kept that the same. And then for the last sentence, I kept the second and the third the same. So the first sentence was where I preferred to change the prioritizing. This one didn't characterize it as that. It said preserve, and I prefer using prioritizing.
I'm fine with the change.
Works for me.
Okay. Do you want to?
I'll just email it to you.
Perfect.
You didn't catch all that?
It's been a long day.
Got it.
Don't have transcription as fingertips? Mm-hmm. And then you said you also changed the last, the verbiage on the last bubble there?
So in that last paragraph, one of the words that they used, it just didn't seem right to me. It seemed like an urban word was amenities. They said access to essential amenities. And to me, here in the county, it's more like services, essential services, not necessarily amenities. It's an urban word. And
can you say that 3 times fast? Amenities? No. Services is I agree with you. Services is more appropriate.
It does fit better with the rural environment.
Yeah.
And then at the end, talking about enjoying the benefits of a balanced lifestyle, I thought rural lifestyle is more reflective of Elbert County rather than balanced lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's the right adjective for this.
I didn't have any other changes on this page. I don't know if anyone else did.
So there's the first sentence, and then all the other paragraphs are the same, and then those 2 word changes at the last. So amenities to services and balance to rural.
Correct.
I'm getting quicker. Seen that? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, single words.
Hey. All right. So now we are at the end of chapter 4. Was there anything else from Kevin's version that we wanted to put into Kimley Horns with Ken's edits?
Kevin, what was your major changes to that?
Almost a complete rewrite. Refocus took out a bunch of the words, thought down the path of making sure that we didn't create any slippery slopes in terms of where we were sticking to and adhering to the vision and the core principles.
Although your version leaves out the rural character, which was point number 1, because it jumps straight to the natural resources.
Yep, that's fine.
Are there any components of the natural resources that you would want to substitute out, or that you'd be willing to add into the Kimley-Horn language? Or do you just like your definition of it completely?
Yeah, that's why I rewrote it. I thought it made more sense, but I don't know that I can restructure the way they've documented natural resources without taking up the fluff and changing the words out. So I'm okay with what the team decides on this. We can move forward.
It seems to me like the Kimberly-Horn version offers a little more.
Kimberly-Horn.
I'm sorry?
It's not Kimberly.
I misspoke. The Horn version. It seems to offer a little more broad spectrum approach to the entire county.
I'm fine with no more changes in chapter 4.
You're fine with what?
No more changes on chapter 4.
As am I.
This page. I think the changes that Nicole had meets kind of and protects the words that we're looking for, and I think that's fine to move on.
Anybody else?
So, chapter 5.
Okay, moving on.
And then can we just take like a 5-minute break so I can save these in all the right places, and then I'll pull up chapter 5.
Yes, thank you.
Ken, would you like to start off with this? So left-handed side, again, is Kimley-Horn with Ken's edits. Right hand is Kevin's, and then on the screen in front of you is Kimley-Horn's, as is.
It's just a picture in front of us.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. Well,
We like
the title on Ken's was revised.
Yeah, of all the chapters, this is the one I like the least, honestly. This one, I would propose that we get rid of the Kimley-Horn's version and replace it with Kevin's version, this one.
So what's all the red from? Who's doing the red?
That was me.
It's Ken.
Oh, gotcha.
I was going through different sections. Like I said, this one I like the least of this whole proposal.
KKK.
Is he still there? Kevin?
Kevin, are you there?
I am here.
Oh, good.
Ken, you're saying replace it with Kevin?
That's my suggestion, yes.
And what was it about Kevin's, because I didn't get to read this at all, that you liked as compared to the KH version? In your mind?
Like I said, I guess I didn't like, you know, we're talking about the place we call home, and they're kind of focusing on just one quadrant of our county,
looking at the Northwest and the, oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess that would help. So I guess in this section, this is supposed to describe the whole county, and we're kind of focusing on just the Northwest portion of it. I think Kevin's version does a better job of explaining how the whole county looks and feels versus focusing on just the Northwest.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, so Ken, you're saying you want Kevin's language, but the one you edited, does that reflect Kevin's? Or
No.
Okay.
So, myself, I would scrap the section and insert Kevin's myself, but it's up for other people's comments, obviously.
And Kevin, you primarily replaced the narrative, but did you also want to keep some of the graphics that KH has in their version?
Yeah, I think all of the graphics were reasonable. I didn't look at the text on the graphics. And Nicole did a pretty dang good job of that. So I would marry the concepts of keeping the images, keeping the foundation the way it is, and then but making some minor tweaks to that as well. Make to the language and the illustrations around it.
And what were your kind of changes associated with the housing partnerships and so on? Was that where you made your changes, Nicole?
I did not submit any changes. I didn't like the housing partnership section at all. I would completely strike that. To me, this felt like such a very pro-development, but just trying so hard to make development and the future of our county seem like a plus, when if it's changing our county, it might not be a positive for our county. So this felt like a very hard-worked argument that isn't necessary, in my opinion. This should reflect what is the housing situation in our county right now, and what do we need. And one of the things that we do know, and I know Dan McCallan, who's not here right now, has asked that we would consider including language about the developments that are already entitled. I think this could be a good place to put it within this chapter, so maybe we could make a note of that. He originally said maybe it should live in its own chapter, but to me, this one is about housing in particular, and if we're talking about, what's entitled and when that's expected to be built out, I think it would be helpful to include it here.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of where it fits based on the discussions with Dan.
Including a breakout of what developments have been entitled already, how many homes that's going to look like, and the build-out date.
Now, on the housing partnerships, do we want to just delete that entirely or replace with Kevin's?
Yeah, I tried to take some of the developer-centric focus out of it.
Yeah, would you say that your existing conditions, is that?
Yeah, I don't know if I fully achieved it.
I mean, I don't know. I think housing partnerships just goes out altogether because Kevin's kind of looks at it differently. He organizes his differently.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, would you say that your section on existing conditions is kind of like a response to the ECCOG Regional Housing Needs Assessment? Or how does it reflect that whole page 62, 63 that's about...
The whole thing around what the ECCOG said was, not reflective. It did not consider all of the elements appropriately. And so, yeah, it was in response to that piece of the puzzle.
Right, because it says in the language Kimley Horn has included here that the report only includes a review of the county's existing housing conditions based on 2022 data, which we know has changed significantly because the majority of the housing, over 7,800 entitled homes, have all been entitled starting in 2023.
Right.
Which does beg the question, Commissioners, whether or not we should include information in this document that's already outdated and does not reflect the condition of the county's housing output.
I mean, I agree. If it's going to be in there, it's got to be accurate.
Yeah.
I don't mind that it's in there, but I think you're right. It needs to be accurate.
Yeah, if the data is not accurate, it doesn't allow for the for a baseline, for a guideline to be created appropriately, or at least it's it taints the guideline based upon that information.
But I doubt they have the most accurate and current information, too. I mean, it took them 3 years to compile the data.
So you're suggesting simply remove that entire sentence?
What sentence are you referring to?
The one they have highlighted up there. Report includes detailed review of the 2022 data.
Well, no, I mean, if you look here on this PowerPoint right here, all of this is according to the 2022 data.
Which, okay.
All that, the whole, both.
All the data is, 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's a way we rework this. I mean, if it is the most recent data, maybe there's a way to say it is the most recent data. However, it does not account for all of the entitled development that is going to produce approximately these many homes in the county over the next decade to 2 decades or whatever. But I just think we have to account for what the situation is on the ground.
Sure. So essentially keep what is stated, but add in an additional that just states what zoning has already been approved.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? To me, this is putting a lot of emphasis on the fact that we housing needs are like there are significant housing needs that have not been met in our county, and yet we've just approved over 10,000 homes that are entitled to be built out. So it doesn't really reflect, the tenor doesn't reflect the situation. So I don't like the idea of keeping language that makes it look like housing is a dire need when we've already approved enough housing, 3 times more than what they said was necessary over the next decade.
Well, some of this housing's been approved 30 years ago, too.
I'm talking about housing that wasn't approved. I'm talking about over 7,800 homes that have just been approved in the last 3 years.
Understand. They're not going to build them out right away because they can't financially, the market won't support that.
But this language doesn't reflect that. It reflects a dire housing crisis or need that's not legitimate when you have that many houses in the pipeline. Because if the market says that we need these houses, the developers are going to build them.
Agreed.
And by the way, they've already approved our plans, so there's no lingering need sitting over our heads. That it's all been approved. It's been blessed.
Were they
need to be looked at for another 5 years?
Let me ask this question, Kevin. Were they referring to less expensive housing when they? Because I get the idea of the perception of need out of this paragraph. Is that what they were leading to?
They're looking at what is the current demand cycle, and factoring in everything in the county. So at some level, I'm sure they are considering that, but they believe that need is met through Elizabeth, Kiowa, any of the other surrounding township type of groups, and they have been approved already.
Understand, as I say, we have housing development that has been approved 30 years ago and it's only halfway built out, but that would be Spring Valley. So I think market is going to drive a lot of that.
And we've also added additional Spring Valley elements that are continuing to grow and getting continually built out. So that argument, whether it's 30 years old or 5 years old, doesn't add any value to the conversation. It's part of that 7,000 to 9,000 entitled homes.
I guess my point is they're not going to build those right away. They're going to build them when the market demands it.
Well, I think that's Kevin's point, though, right? I mean, Kevin's point is the market hasn't needed them. That's why they're sitting at 10,000 plus entitled, or whatever it is, 4,500 entitled, 4,500 platted homes. If we're working on a comp plan for the next 5-10 years, I don't know, do we need this for us?
I'd say no.
Or is this going to be a problem for the commission or the committee in the next 10 years? Because I think for this comp plan, we've already met housing needs.
Mm-hmm. And maybe that's what we need to say.
Yeah, because I mean, Jim Marshall was here, and what is it, Elizabeth West, and that's only, 170-ish homes? He said that's going to take him 10 years to build. So, exactly. So, I mean, do we have, not saying that we can't approve more development coming in, but does it need to be written that there's a housing need? I mean, this kind of makes it seem like there's a housing need crisis in Elbert County.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I think the point is that it's already in the pipeline, and these 2 pages don't reflect that.
I mean, I'm fine leaving it as the regional housing needs assessment, but let's have the assessment reflect what Elbert County has already approved. So Kelsey, can you write that up, please?
Would that fall under the existing conditions?
Yeah, so then we don't need it.
Yeah, just, bolster the existing conditions with the data that we have that we know is true.
Within Elbert County, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, within Elbert County.
Okay. So all the language that you see on this screen, delete.
I mean, it's already 4 years old. I'm fine. I mean, Dan, what do you think? Dan, you're on the, I mean, I'm more middle. There's different sides here. What do you think, Dan?
I'm sorry, I was.
What do you think about, I mean, I want your perspective. What do you think about getting rid of this language?
It's probably not current, but then if I understand this process right, this is a blanket approach. We're looking at the last 10 years and the next 20, where we've been and where we're going. And I don't have a problem with leaving in there either way. It's not a hill to die on for me.
I don't mind including language in here that said, a report that included data from 2022 said we needed, more housing. And since that time, I just don't think it needs to be 2 full pages. Like, it's okay to recognize that, yeah, back in 2022, data said we needed to bring in some more housing. So more housing was approved, and now it's in the pipeline.
I think that's a great way to put it.
There's one other thing I think we need to consider about this data at 2022. That was immediately following COVID. And during COVID, there was a mass exodus from urban areas. So that increased the demand out here dramatically. I don't think we're seeing that right now.
Yeah, which is why a lot of the entitled homes aren't being built, right? But I like Nicole's point, keeping it, but then not keeping it, but reword it to reflect, yeah, this is what we needed, but this is what Elbert County did between the time that this data was collected to 2026.
I can live with that.
So,
could that all be put under existing conditions?
Yeah, then
Get rid of all this.
Get rid of
Just add that
Include
add that
language.
verbiage into the existing.
Get rid of the 500-word
Based
essay.
upon the 2022, and this is what Elbert County was able to produce through its developers.
So bear with me one second.
Yeah, I'm fine, as long as we reflect that, the 2022 data, and then this is what Elbert County did.
I think it's good because then it demonstrates there was a housing needs assessment. These were the areas that were identified, and the county responded.
Well, in that way, in 5 to 10 years, when this is rewritten again, if there can be reassessed again.
New data. Yeah.
And that's easy because
Nicole, I really appreciate that you offered to go ahead and rewrite this. Thank you.
there you go.
I would be willing to put something together, like a couple of sentences, and then can I get that to you?
Yeah.
I just don't have it right now.
Okay. So do we want to keep the first paragraph then? Or just have it
I think we could
entirely
move,
reworked to Nicole's version?
yeah, because I think, Nicole, you'll have most of those words,
Yes.
but then we'll put it under, yeah.
Then
I'll use this language to identify what the housing needs assessment identified as a need, and then say that how we responded.
Okay.
Yeah, because that way then we're not just dismissing the
Yeah.
ECO,
No, I agree.
ECCO.
And are we putting in Kevin's existing conditions? Or is this the section that Nicole is going to be creating?
I think it's going to be a combination of both, right?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Kevin's existing conditions. And I wonder too if this is where we need to put in all the entitled development.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So then I just put in Kevin's version, and then I will just make a note that the approved zoning and the numbers for entitled properties, homes, will be created and presented on the 16th.
Okay, thank you.
No. Thank you, Nicole.
Oh,
That was weak. I think you can do better than that. Dee Dee, where were you on that one?
Come on, let's do the wave.
Is everyone A-okay with this? Perfect.
Until we're not.
Look at that. Middle ground, guys. Middle ground.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, looking at okay, so I will say Kevin's has a little bit more language before he gets to goals and strategies. So his has, let's see. So he has the existing conditions, housing partnerships, regional housing context, and planning direction. Do we want to review any of those? Or just go to...
Can you go back? What did you say?
So on his version, he goes from existing conditions to the housing partnerships.
We don't have that.
I don't have the housing partnership.
We don't have that in the printout.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, where you are.
I think that was Amber's job. Amber, come on.
There's no back.
Yeah, it's like a great answer.
You know, some stuff was missing, so I was wondering what happened. That makes sense, though.
Okay.
Don't worry about it, Amber. We'll blame Mars. You can't just sit back there all night, okay? We got to bring you in.
Are you awake?
Yeah, recording is in progress.
In progress.
I actually like this. Is that you? Did you do that sign?
Whatever happened to the good old-fashioned on-air light?
Yeah, that's
TV
good.
station has an on-air light.
Okay, so Amber is going to make copies of the front and back version. On some of them, they only printed one-sided.
Oh.
So blame the printer.
That sounds like something. Easier to blame Mars.
It is an IT. I know.
It is a digital marketing something. It's fault.
God bless you.
Excuse me. God bless you. Thank you.
Kevin, just give us 1 second. We're reprinting your versions of chapters 5 through 9.
Unless you want to read it.
No worries.
to us.
Okay, now that we have the full document, looking at Kevin's, so he just has the extra sections in there for housing partnerships, regional housing contexts, and planning direction before goals and strategies.
So initially we had discussed getting rid of housing partnerships altogether.
The Kimley Horn version.
Okay.
Yes.
I do like this. I like the way he's laid out the way that we can partner moving forward, particularly the part about how it's governed by the county's vision for these partnerships, rather than purely by the market.
I'm fine with Kevin's housing partnership.
Me as well.
Finished it, yeah.
I like it as well.
Okay.
We keep it.
Perfect. So I added that to the left side.
Okay.
Next, the regional housing context section.
I still do think I can put together just a couple of sentences about the report that exists. He mentions it here, like kind of at the first sentence, that there's regional housing planning documents. I think it's worth just saying what was identified as a need.
Okay.
And then this is where we should also include what we have.
So just wait for your version to send over.
Well, I like what he's written here, but I want to include the specific document. I'd like to include a couple sentences about the document that he's referring to.
So the entire section.
What do you guys think? Do you like this section?
And you want to augment it by what?
You want to add the data that we talked about?
Oh, you're adding the data.
I want to use the data.
Okay.
So you're gonna add it under regional housing context?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where it was,
Perfect.
under Kimley Horns.
Perfect. So that one's waiting for Nicole.
Question I have for you, though. So, Kevin, in the last paragraph of this section, you talk about the county recognizes that affordable and workforce housing are legitimate regional concerns. Obviously, that language can be kind of keywords for Section 8 housing or other types of housing that maybe we ought to use clear language about what exactly we're talking about, rather than language that can be interpreted other ways.
If you want to simplify or change that, jump in.
What do you guys think?
The point that Dan's been making all night is, we ought to have room in there somewhere for this kind of discussion, and we can take some of the key context out of it and still make it deliver a good, focused statement about growth. It may be too much, though. You can still take it out if you want.
I just don't want people to think that we're necessarily encouraging.
Section 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Encouraging what?
Section 8 housing?
Absolutely not. However, you do want...
Microphone.
This is secrets.
I completely agree. We don't want Section 8 housing, but we do need less expensive housing. I will avoid the word affordable because that has negative connotations, but the only way to do that is by decreasing land surface and increasing density. And it has to be close in places where they can walk to the grocery store. That would make sense to me.
We need more grocery stores then, because I don't know if you could walk any closer for new development to the Safeway or Walmart.
Well, maybe we ought to put something up on 166.
That's up north, right?
That's Singing Hills.
Yeah. Right next to Dee Dee's house.
I'm not picking on Dee Dee.
Not in my neighborhood.
I think there's a gas station that people can walk to pick up some essentials.
I'm lucky I have 220 acres that nothing else can be built on.
You're like,
I'm moving there.
all right, so is there a recommendation on maybe another word to use or another way to phrase it? Rather than affordable workforce housing?
I'm fine with this paragraph, but I do think if we can change the affordability-oriented housing to a different language would be great. I just don't know what to use.
I don't like using the word clustered service areas. I don't know if it's just... I don't even know if we need to have that part. That are generally incorporated municipalities with centralized infrastructure.
Who's got the thesaurus for affordable?
I have super grok. Let's look.
What, John? What word can we use?
After the meeting I attended, your meeting 2 meetings ago, I asked the municipal clerk for Sasha Davidson at the town of Kiowa what price point the developers were talking about who wanted to annex into the town of Kiowa.
Right.
We had discussed this. Affordable housing, their number was $650,000 for an affordable house. The typical market price was $750,000. So their concept now is $650,000.
Wow.
That's cheap.
We need to bring Michael back.
Yeah, that's right.
What's his plan?
So super grok says we can do attainable housing, entry-level housing, middle income
I
housing.
like that. Obtainable.
Attainable.
Entry level. Entry level.
$30 a month pays off.
Yeah, I like entry level.
Attainable's
That's
good.
good.
I love grok. I use it all the time. I have to send executive email.
Are you saying attainable?
ATTANAIN, sorry. ABLE.
Attainable.
Blah, 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 blah.
It sounds like a little
She confused me.
obtainable.
No,
Obtainable.
Not
May-
unattainable.
May
I
I
don't
sug-
want to get
Unattainable
loopy.
housing.
We still
Attain.
got- Yeah, got it.
I like attainable, but I think entry level is more specific. And that's really what we're leaning toward is,
Yeah, but if you go with attainable housing instead of entry level, because entry level is going to be location specific, right? I mean, entry level housing in Elbert County right now is $650,000
That's crazy.
well.
in Kiowa.
That's a valid point.
In Kiowa?
That's what you just said, yeah.
Or not for a new family. They can't even.
I mean,
think
the
about
best. I mean, Jim Marshall did say the Denver metro area is the most expensive non-coastal housing market,
Yeah.
and it shows.
Yeah. Those.
Attainable housing.
that. Obtainable.
Got it. Attainable. Do we want to change the word clustered?
I would prefer to. I would just say if we could just say generally incorporated municipalities with centralized infrastructure, not dispersed rural unincorporated county. Okay.
Sounds good.
So I have, for more compact and attainable housing are generally incorporated municipalities and centralized infrastructure. And then it continues on.
Right.
But those were the two changes. And then below that, having to add in the approved/entitled homes information. Okay.
Yes.
The next section that was not in Kinley Horns was on Kevin's version is the planning direction. And that is the last one before goals and strategies. So on the printed version, that's going to be the second page.
I like this. Like this, the only one I don't love though is number 2. I just don't like the way it's worded. Because I don't want to discourage any type of residential expansion, whether that be, I mean, I think you can have a difference between high density and then those 2 to 10 acre lots.
How would you want to reword that?
That's what I don't know. That's what I'm staring at this paper for. We could put no additional high density residential expansion is presumed necessary. Because when you talk residential, I mean you're talking all types of residential, and I just don't want to batch everything together into one.
Yeah.
Well, remember what we're doing here is we're talking about, we've been told that we need to have all of this additional housing through the 2 governmental agencies that do this insight. And we have figured out that is no longer correct, nor is it mandated.
What if we put it into the positive and made it something like housing needs are presumed to be met over the next decade or 2 or whatever, or just met? What if we just said it in that way?
I like presumed to be met. Because then you're not discouraging, I mean, if there is justification, then there's justification.
And also identifying that we know what past reports have said we need, and that we've met those goals.
But have we met the appropriate goals based upon the entitlements out there? If affordable housing is $650K.
Excuse me, sir, it's attainable.
And this is going to be used as a guideline to help us derive, the rules and regulations associated with, any additional build out. Should we say no additional residential expansion is presumed necessary, or no additional? How'd you say it in the positive again?
I said that.
How about is immediately necessary?
Okay, here, before you say anything, because what to Dan's point, is there really we have, obviously we have the entitlements for 7,000 plus homes, and then based upon the market over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, those entitlements will be consumed and built out. But is that all we're banking on, or do we need to also look at truly, what kind of housing?
Attainable.
Attainable. I just want him to say the word. Attainable housing, and build this guideline to help encourage that in the appropriate places, as based upon what Kevin has written, in and around, existing communities and so on, that can support it.
So the way that I said it was housing needs are presumed met. Housing needs are presumed met. And we could say over the next decade, or we could leave time out. But I would argue that this actually doesn't say that you can't approve more housing. It just says that we're assuming that we've met the need. And so now it's a matter of, is this necessary? Do we want it? Is this a good location? And that's, of course, when you can make the argument of attainable. But I would also, caution that that's exactly how all of those 7,890 homes were approved in the first place, was we need more attainable housing. And the market has changed. So unless we're we can't determine the market outcome, but we can determine if there are developers who are willing to work with us to be able to develop things maybe at a faster pace so they don't have such long amount of times they have to hold the land or whatever it might be. But
Right.
it looks like it'll probably look different than maybe the way that it's been done before.
So augment 2 based upon how you said it, and then change 4 to include that kind of focus of what you just said. Maybe shorten the timeframes, encourage, attainable housing, in section 4. Just add a sentence associated with.
So make it a 5 principle, a 4 principle instead of 5? And then just add some language into number 4? Because right now it's written as should reflect 5 principles. So you're saying strike 2, but add language from 2 into 4.
Augment
You're
2.
just saying to augment this number 4.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
yeah. Change to augment 4, and the follow-on is number 5 to support 4.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about including 2 and then still having 4 is the emphasis. I do think it's important that our comprehensive plan identify that because of the entitled projects, like we do feel like we've met the housing need that has been identified. However, if we want to continue to develop, of course we can. But I like the idea of separating those two because it is important to identify that as something that has been done.
Right, right.
I would just say for 5, if we could take out clustered service area. Because the word cluster was used to describe a lot of high-density development, I really don't prefer to use cluster in our descriptive words. I know.
Okay. So removed the word clustered, and then for number 2, did we want to go with Nicole's housing needs are presumed met? Okay. And then the rest of it is keeping as is, or are you wanting to generate another sentence to the number 4?
How would you augment 4 with
What would you want to have there, Robin?
Yeah, the attainable, housing approach. To reemphasize, that's something that would be appropriate, for existing communities.
That's a good question. Let me think about it for a second.
Okay,
Do you have something to say?
I'm sorry, I'm going back to number 5 to your comment about clustered service area. That's going to apply to a municipal, as it says here, municipality. In other words, Elizabeth, or maybe Semla, where they're going to be controlling this anyway. That's where we want that kind of stuff. I don't see any reason to take out clustered service area. That it really isn't going to apply to the county. It's going to be more of a municipality-related issue, right?
I just don't think that we need it. It's not necessary.
In support of the county, in support of the plan for the county. That's why it doesn't make sense to have it in here.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying the clustered service area, if we're encouraging development closer to a city, it is possible that we're going to see development come in and still be in the county purview, but just outside of Elizabeth.
Oh, just outside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But if it's just outside the city limits and they have access to the town-related things, why is that a bad thing?
Again, I'm just saying I don't think it's necessary. We're already talking about the municipal area being an area that has these types of services, and I don't think we need to say clustered services. That doesn't even make sense to me.
What was the other word we used for cluster?
I don't know, I need to ask Super Grok.
No, we did it in a.
So, Nicole, are you just saying then just take out and other clustered service areas?
Yeah, I think it would say affordable housing is primarily a
Attainable.
municipal area or issue. Yeah.
Attainable housing.
Sorry, attainable. Anywhere, I think there's attainable or affordable a couple other times in 5, so we should just change those. And there's another cluster service area, which I just don't think is necessary.
Wordsmith?
If I communicate with the people in Kiowa, give me a number, your concept for attainable housing, so I can communicate to them what you are perceiving you want to see in Iowa. Give me a number, not 650,000. What do you want to see in Iowa?
400,000.
400,000.
Yeah, it's just hard as a planning commission to market rate new development. I don't have a number.
The whole point is,
Already apartment buildings in Iowa. Another apartment building would not be, already apartment buildings in Iowa.
the whole point we're trying to work toward with that, at least what I'm trying to work toward, is an equity building sort of housing. I won't say facility necessarily. Maybe it's single family, maybe it's some sort of a cluster housing, but that price point that a new family that's just getting started in a service position, maybe it's the sheriff's office or the first responder or teacher or something, that they can afford to get into and develop some roots in the county and then want to stay.
This week's paper on 4 pages, foreclosures.
Yeah.
That's disappointing.
I heard that's getting worse.
All right, moving on.
So what was the word we wanted to use instead of?
Cluster?
Yes.
I think we just wanted to delete it.
Okay.
Just strike in cluster service area.
And then wherever it appears in after 5, like in that little written area.
Yep. Okay.
And then change affordable to
attainable. Yep.
In that area.
So on the left-hand side, does that all look good to you all? So we changed I'll call it a title of number 2 to housing needs are presumed met. I did not get a clear sentence to add to the last of 4. But 5, we changed affordable to attainable. And then the clustered services, we just deleted that. So now it just says be directed to municipalities and other areas.
I don't see any problem with 4.
I did that the first time, thank you.
I was just.
All right, I don't see any problem with 4.
What do we need to add to 4?
No, maybe 5 covers, but attainable housing is primarily a municipal area issue. All right, I'm fine with 4.
I'm fine with 4.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. Next is goals and strategies. I will say these are structured pretty much the same. No additional. Nope. Okay. So last of chapter 5 is just goals and strategies.
Generally speaking, I didn't mind the goals and strategies kind of beginning discussion, Kimley Horns, and but starting at goal 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3, I much preferred Kevin's.
And sorry, which ones?
I liked this top part of Kimley Horns, but as we look to the goals, I liked Kevin's language better.
Right.
So keep the intro paragraph and then
And you
change
said
the
just
strategies.
Kevin's 1, 2, and 3? The 5.1,
5.1, 5.2,
okay.
5.3, yeah. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
It's distorted.
So we deleted Kimley Horn's 5, 1, 2, and 3 and replaced those with Kevin's.
Yes.
Good? Perfect. Okay.
So, preserve and improve the existing housing stock. Hey, Kevin. Mr. Virtual.
Yeah.
On your last one on strategy 5.2.3, seek grant funding and partnership opportunities that improve housing quality and resilience without inducing incompatible growth patterns. Too bad the Mike isn't here. Do you think there's grant opportunity or funding opportunity for attainable housing concepts out there? I'm just
Your grant money is going to push you more towards Section 8.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You can strike my 5.2.3.
Strike it. Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to see.
That was extra, right? I don't think that was in Kimley Horns.
No.
Correct.
5.2.3. We only have a 2.2.
I was trying to get to the concept of attainable housing, but
Yeah,
think
I know.
I
And that's why I was kind of asking the question, would there be, ideas out there to be able to do it, without it leaning towards a Section 8 type of housing?
Yeah, I would say not with state or federal grant money.
Yeah, there's too many strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd take out 5.23 also.
Okay, so that's what we're doing. We're striking 5.2.3.
Okay. In the Kimley Horns, there wasn't a 5.2.3.
Yeah, that's in Kevin's.
That's in Kevin's, and that's why we're.
Okay.
I think we're leaning towards moving Kevin's over.
Okay, so we want to move Kevin's 5.2.1 and 5.2.2. Okay.
Yes.
But not 5.2.3.
Correct. Please hold. Okay.
I'm also fine with Kevin's 5.3 section.
5 point what?
The whole 5.3.
Okay.
I'd like to go back and revisit 5.13. I'm sorry. 5.14. I think including industrial and community mixed use is something we shouldn't ignore. Is there a reason you left that out, Kevin?
I believe we
think
kept.
they chose to leave it in. If you'll look, there's the purple is
missing it?
mine, the dark is theirs. So yes.
As of right now, we have Kevin's 5, 511, 512, 513, but we kept Kimley Horns 514. So the one you just referenced.
The mixed use would
It's
still be
still
in it,
Yes.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
My apologies.
So then back to goal 5.3.
In 5.3.5, should we change affordable to attainable?
I would just change affordable and workforce housing to just attainable housing.
Yeah.
Did you do that in the other areas?
You can just do search.
Find and replace.
We can go back through and
Yep.
just, we can make note of that.
Hey guys, I'm sinking fast. I need to get to bed. I apologize, but whatever I started with has gotten worse.
Uh-oh.
Y'all can continue on. I know you're making good progress here, but I don't want to slow us down either. So,
Okay.
y'all
Right.
take care. Talk to you soon.
Have a good night, Kevin.
Okay.
Good night.
Yep, y'all take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so then for goal 5.3, I deleted Kimley Horns and then just added over all 5 of Kevin's and then changed that affordable to attainable.
Yep.
I'm fine with that one, yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, do we want to remove the clustered word?
Yes.
Strategy 535, where it says partners to support attainable.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you.
Oh, hold on, let's see.
We're just going to take out cluster service.
Or just the word clustered, yeah.
So to support attainable housing in incorporated or service areas.
Correct.
Cool. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Go up.
Chapter 6.
No.
We're on chapter 6.
Almost.
Rolling
today.
It did.
Oh. One last thing, thank you. For Kevin's version for goal 5.2, he did have the language before the strategies that says preserve and improve the existing housing stock in ways that support long-term livability and rural identity. Do we want that language?
Yeah, I liked his language better than the language Kimley Horn provided.
Okay.
Yeah. He expands on it. Preserve and improve the existing houses.
And then give me 1 second while I save this.
Yeah, so it just adds a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
Are we good for another chapter, or do we want to call it since Kevin's off? It's his chapter.
All right. I'll accept a motion for
adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn for tonight.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Very good.
See where they'd be opposed.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Hey, it's an hour.